This video is about the new Sigma 24-70mm 2.8 for Sony. Welcome back, my loyal subscribers. Today, I bring to you another camera review or camera related video. And if you're like me, you know that the introduction of this lens is a big deal. I want to do a quick video, talk about the highlights of this lens. I got a chance to test it on a photo shoot. Nothing but good things to say about it, so let's get into it. So if you know, or if you're familiar with the Sony lens lineup, you know that it's been a challenge at the beginning when lots of these new cameras were launching. There was a lack of lenses. There were a lack of lenses, and the lenses that were available were obviously from the native mount, Sony, native manufacturer, and these were G Master lenses or whatever. But since it was so limited, the pricing has been placed very high. So most G Master lenses are over $1,500, $1,900. These essential ones hit the over $2,000 mark. And for lots of us that are looking for more budget-friendly options with high quality for everyday, even professional use, it was a challenge. And lots of us at the beginning, unless you were able to afford them, and it wasn't a big deal, we were adapting lenses, just using cheaper versions, using film lenses, just trying to get around it, trying to find alternatives to the lens equipment that you need. And so it wasn't until about a year ago, a little bit over a year, that the G Master from Sony 24-70 2.8 was the only 2.8 in that range available for Sony users. We have the f4, but if you want a faster aperture for professional use, you wanted that 2.8. And so that 2.8 is still around $2,300, and that is crazy. I mean, obviously you get the quality, you get the water seals and all that. They match the sensors, but there was a lack of third-party manufacturers putting in their quality glass into the system. So not until a year and a half kind of ago, Tamron brought out theirs, the 28-75. And if you're familiar with this, you know that lens was sold out for months. And I remember ordering it, and it took months for me to get it. That was our first real constant aperture zoom that was budget friendly at $800 or around there. And so this lens, Tamron, was a key selling alongside the A7 III, a very multi-purpose camera with impressive specs that rivaled the top DSLRs. And so when that lens came out, everyone was rejoicing. We had great options, but there were some limits to it, and there still are some limits to it. You get great image quality. I used that lens for over a year. The build is slightly lower. It's good plastic, but it doesn't feel as rugged. It easily scratched. The 28mm was an issue for a lot of people. It's not wide enough. 28, 24. It's pretty minor, but if you're in tight spaces, those couple millimeters matter. Things like that made a lot of people question whether it was worth getting or not. And if you were like me, you needed that lens. Regardless of the limit of the 24mm and other build quality, it was our first very good option with a constant aperture at 2.8. And so I went for it. I used it for a year, several weddings and portrait shoots with it, videos with it. I don't regret getting it. It was a great experience with it, and when it came time to get rid of it, it wasn't that hard. I mean, it's still on demand. But we're here to talk about the Sigma, this one. And so I remember using the G Master before the Tamron was out, and I really liked that lens. And this Sigma coming out a couple months ago already is a huge win for Sony users, because we've got the heft and metal build, we've got the weather sealing, several aperture blades to match the top new lenses that are coming out, 2.8 constant aperture, you got the traditional 24-70, and I can tell you already, I watched several reviews, and you'll see several out there, and people are just praising this lens. Autofocus, I'll start with that. The autofocus is amazing. The Tamron was good, don't get me wrong. However, this Sigma hasn't really impressed me. It is near instant from close range to far range infinity at any of the focal ranges. It's crazy. No sound at all. It's quiet. So this Sigma lens is really amazing in the autofocus. You would not be disappointed. IAF, all that stuff works perfect. The other thing to note is the build. This thing is all metal, and it's weather sealed, and it has, I think, 11 aperture blades, which is awesome for the bokeh. Wide open, constant 2.8. I'd say the size is very close to the G Master, and if you see comparisons, you'll see that it's pretty much the same length and size and weight. So you're not missing out anything. It's kind of hard. I mean, having it in my hand, I did use the G Master. To me, this is a G Master, to be honest, and I have no regrets. And it cost half the price of the G Master. I think that is like the top thing I can say about this. You're getting G Master quality, excellent image, autofocus, build, reliability, half the price. Go buy it if you need a 24-70. That's all I have to tell you there. I had a chance to use it with my A7R3. It matches the high megapixels excellent. I mean, that's why I used the high megapixel one to test these things. I used it at an engagement shoot, so I'll put some pictures right now and probably sprinkle them throughout the video, because I know just staring at me talking is probably boring. But you'll see the image quality is excellent. You can zoom in all you want. Needless to say, some people want to zoom in all the way, some don't. This lens is very sharp. Clarity's excellent. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell you that there's something wrong with this lens. Unless you're a person who's definitely caring about weight and size, then I'd say go for the Tamron then, because it is lighter. It is a bit more portable and stands out a little bit less. But if you need the traditional 24-70, which I started to miss a couple months in, I really missed that 24, which comes in handy when wanting to get the perspective of a venue or an environment that you're in. It just looks a little bit different to me than a 28, and I think lots of people would agree with that. But overall, I mean, it's an excellent lens. You should, if you're not gonna just take my word for it, just rent it, try it out. You're not gonna be disappointed. Thanks for watching. I have other videos coming up soon, photo related. I've been blessed to have the opportunity to test a lot of new stuff lately, and so I haven't kept it all for a reason, and so I want to share my findings with some of those cameras and lenses that I've been testing out. So stay tuned. Sigma 24-70 for Sony. Just freaking try it. You're gonna love that thing. It's a keeper. Comparing it to the Tamron, it's a whole different level compared to the Tamron. You just feel the quality, and using it, All right, enough talking. God, I'm at 10 minutes. I'm probably gonna trim this later.